Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. In today's video, we are doing day 6 of Poetspice's 12 Days of Christmas Cheer. And if that is of interest to you, please stay tuned. Okay, quick recap. I know if you've been following me on this, you're like, oh, Johanna. But Poet is hosting a 12-day Collab Hop. Basically, there are a bunch of channels who are participating in this. They're doing something either Christmas or December holiday themed on their channels. Go and check them out. And I will be doing something out of this book. This is a coloring book by Opal. It is Moments Wholly for Yourself. Typically known in the coloring book community as Forest Girl number 3. I did segment the page into 12 sections, one so that I could do a section every day, but also because I do have 12 brands of pencils, and therefore it'll help me test out the brand on each of these sections. Now I think we're going to do this section. Let's see what the row will look like when we're done. So this is day 6, and I realize I have Mondo llamas, which is funny since it's right there. I don't know why I made it like I just discovered it, but I don't have many of them, so let's pull some of those out. And so we're going to need to contend with the wall. We're going to need to contend with the floor and the furniture, and then the greens, but the greens should actually not be that big of a deal. And for the Mondo llamas, I have them back here. I believe this was the... No, I think I split them all up because the skin tone ones look a little different. Or at least I thought they did. But this is a mixture of their skin tone, which I think actually lays down better, and then they're just, I think it's their 24 basic set, which doesn't lay down as good. But at least we have a nice range of colors. So we're going to take... We'll take all the greens and now some of these might not be sharpened. Kill surprise. I think we're going to use a lot of browns and greens. Oh, and blues. And I know for some of you this might be completely chaotic, but this is how I color. This is a bright blue. I think we'll actually go for light blue and blue. They do have a 72-piece set, and I've seen from other people's channels that they work better. They might be, because I think their school set or the 12 or the 24-piece might be the version of for their school, and then their 72 set and their skin tone set might be a better version because I've heard that the 72 set actually works quite well, but then I think it's also $40, and I'm not going to spend $40 on a pencil set when I have so many other pencil sets. But yeah, just in case you are in the market. So I'm going to put this away. I'll be right back. Okay, so there's a lot more pencils on the table, but that's because we have a lot of different elements. And I'm just separating the blues and the greens from the rest of these. And so we're just going to dive right in. I'm going to do this for the chair. Oh, I already don't like how these feel. Yeah, these feel like Crayolas. Hooray. Okay, so I'm going to put this. Oh, it's a lit candle. Okay. Well, I might have to pull out a yellow then. I just thought it was a pillar. I didn't actually see the flame until just now. So we're going to put this down there. And we're going to put it on the table. Now on this one, we made the table, I want to say it's more of an umber color, but I might be actually saying that wrong. It's more along the line of like a reddish brown. So it's still okay if we put this base on there because we're just going to be covering it up anyway. But it just helps me define the different elements. It's not a very big spot, but there's still some stuff going on. Okay, so let's deal with the wall first. That's not bad. Oh, and there's the window pane. I actually think we can go here. And behind the flame, I'm going to put a very light coloring. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Maybe we'll use one of our lighter colors. Or maybe add a yellow. I didn't write any of the pencils that I used down. Honestly, I'm not that kind of channel. So I wouldn't even know what that was. And I'm not swatching anything. Like the trick I did up there, I'm going to color over a little bit to try to make this a little bit more seamless. Okay. And let's pull this, see if maybe we can get a better tone match. This definitely pulls a little bit more cream. But it's a little better. So maybe if we take some of this. Now I can tell you, and I don't know if I've mentioned it, these are beginning to become a blur to me. But when I'm doing this off camera and I've chosen a page, I wouldn't necessarily do something like this. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the challenge has been interesting, right? Because we're not only just testing things, we're doing a collab, but we're also trying to make this look somewhat cohesive. But this is a lot more work and effort than I normally do, because really, ultimately, I want to know how the pencil works. And so if you're doing a tester page, you might want to choose something like this, where you could choose random different elements versus splitting up a page and then trying to make it look cohesive. But I also would pick something that's just a little bigger. But when you do swatches, I don't think that's enough to really feel how a pencil feels in your hand. So I definitely would recommend something which may either require layering or different colors, but yeah, something a little bit more than just a little tiny square of seeing how the color lays down. Let's do this. And in the window, the artist had, in this, they had done some trees and whatnot. We are not about that life, so we're just going to make them windows and then add some dimension. Same with the tree, or same with the table. It looks like it's a polished or veneer type table, and so you can see the shadows of the various elements. We are also not going to be doing that. I think we have enough going on, so that isn't necessary. This actually looks like a shade lighter than the darker color that we used there. I mean, they're not the same sets. It makes sense. Okay, so I'm just going to, and it's not really shadow that I'm doing here, because this is outside and this is actually farther in. There's quite a bit of space between the table and that, but I want to give it a little bit more interest than it has. And that's going to be all green. Okay, well, that's that element done. Let's tackle some of our greens. This is, yeah, it's the lighter of the two. As you can see, some of my other challenges are that I don't have a lot of different tones to work with. But then, of course, if you are working with, you know, one set of pencil, you might have limited tones. So it isn't always about having all of the colors. It's just having all of the colors does make it easier, because then you're not trying to create things. This definitely is more cool toned than that up there. But I think we'll add some browns in here just to kind of warm it up a little. Or maybe some blues. No. These feel kind of waxy, not like a Prisma, because I'm not feeling a lot of bloom, but they feel like they're slipping on each other. Okay, I think the brown helped. Let's see about coming in and going a little bit darker. Yeah, I think it looks better than it did before. The green was just a little bit too bright. Because I needed to layer, this actually is more burnished than this. You can see more of the white space there. But that's going to have to be okay. And there does come a point, if you're not familiar with pencil work, that it doesn't matter how hard you press or how many times you go over it, you're not going to get any more color. So for the tree, we're not going to make the bulbs white. I'm actually going to put a layer of brown down first. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys hanging, and we're actually gonna do the chair because that's what this is. Okay, so that's sufficient for that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we're going to come back with the green. Because in that way it gives us a darker base right from the get-go, and it doesn't make this as bright. But I didn't want to go too dark with the brown because I do want to color in the bulbs with a different color. And I'm thinking red. There's no red on the page yet. Well, not really. I'll be right back. All right, I pulled a maroon and I pulled a gray. So let me color these in so I know what to avoid. Okay, and then let's use the gray. Because really the most concerning spot for me right now is just the tip and the tree doesn't match. And let's just use some hard pressure. Just randomly. Okay, and then come in with the gray. You're not the greenest of Christmas trees. Ooh, that's gonna be a challenge. I think all of the sets we have from here on out, though, at least have a decent amount of colors. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need to stop after this video. It's a lot of effort and the pain to go with it. Okay, so with the candles, we're going to make them light. And in the picture, these are light as well, but we're going to just turn these into little trees. I'm just going to put a slight bit of this lighter green. And that way it does stand out from the candle. The melted wax would actually be the same color. There's no reason why it wouldn't be, but we do want to give this a little bit of a definition. Maybe we'll actually even add some blue in here, really lightly, more just to give it a definition of what it is than to give any kind of hint of blue. No. I'm going to add a touch of red in the middle of the flame. And then kind of smush it as best as I can with the yellow. Okay, for the trees, we're going to add some yellow, mostly because it's in my hand. And then we're going to come back with the darker. And it's sort of acting, I don't know if you guys ever done this when you were kids, but you know when you would do Easter eggs and you would put the wax on there and then you would dye the eggs? Putting that yellow on there, because I pressed so heavy, it feels like there's resist on there. And then just to bring in some shadows, just a gray. And it just gives it a little bit, not even so much of a definition, but it gives an illusion of the shape. All right, well that's interesting. Let's make the plates gray. And the picture as well. I was talking about in my Tinseltown video, if I'm not sure on the light source, or if I'm at the point where I don't really care, then I will always put the darkest on the leftmost hand side of the element. Because my thought is, well, I'm right-handed, so that makes more sense. But also, if I do that for everything, then it should look like the light's coming from here, although that doesn't actually make sense logistically. At least the picture cohesively looks like there was some thought. And by the time this picture is done, you might not notice all of the different elements because there's just so much going on the page. So, you know, there's always that as well. Let me make this a little dark on the edges. Okay, so now to contend with the chairs. Oh, wrong color. So the chairs were more orangey brown, and these were definitely more just regular brown. And then we also have the floors to do. What was that? Oh, the Mont, yeah. They felt a little bit more pigmented, but certainly drier. I don't know if that's even a good descriptor. Okay, I don't mind that. Let's bring some brown into here where the shadows are. And that's actually floor back there. Or maybe the wall. Because there's a line between the table, but where the floorboards end. Oh, I think that's tree. Okay, so let's come in with gray since we don't have any bulbs to contend with. And then let's just really sell the green. And it's far enough away from that it doesn't make that much of a difference if it's a little brighter. Okay, so let's do the floor more goldeny. But we'll leave that line, which I think is the back wall. It's hard to tell in the picture. It's hard to tell in here. So we'll just make that decision. And then come in. And this is actually behind the table because the rug is underneath the table. So we don't need to do any kind of shadows because you're just seeing that through the underneath of the table. And let's see if we can bring some more reddish brown. They don't look the same. It's both hilarious to me and it's a little sad to me as well. Because I think before I had added that little bit of more reddy brown, it looked better. But it looked like it needed something, but that's not what it needed. Well. All right, so this under here is going to be the darkest. And this definitely has more color wash than this one. Let's see if we can do a better job up here. But my hands really are hurting. Okay. I'm just adding some just randomness. Well, underneath here is not so random. But otherwise, I don't want to color the whole thing because I do want there to be definition between those two. It's looking better. And what did I do? There are line marks on here. And I'm heavy-handed, so I don't know if something I've colored previously, since I don't use markers, or very often I don't use water-based anything. I don't normally put a bladder page between. Okay. I think we are nearly there. I do have that to contend with. I'm just adding a little bit of warmth to the vase there. Maybe we'll add even some golden one. It's not even so much to reflect light, but again, just to give it some interest. Darken that up right there. And let's continue with this gray and do the fringe. And that's mostly because the pencil is still fairly sharp. So I can get a good point. Otherwise, we would have chosen a pencil that had a sharp point. And in some of the shadows, just to make it look like it's a textured item, we'll put some gray, but then we'll come in with that red. And color over. Let's see what it'll do if we add some of this. Not much of anything really. I like that the tabletop is a little bit lighter than the rest of this. Do we have all of the elements? I think we do. Oh, no, we don't. Thank you for pointing it out, guys. I know, you've been yelling like, why do you keep missing things? And then we'll make them match that, but just lighter. Underneath the plate, I'll put more of the red. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm at that point where I should just leave well enough alone. I don't mind the way that looks, just like with the Crayolas. Visually, I don't mind it. My hand is killing me. And I felt like I had to fight with the colors because they don't want to blend. They don't want to layer. They seem both waxy, but they're really stiff. They're pigmented, so there's nothing wrong with that. But this is not going to be a go-to. Now, like I said, the skin tone ones I feel work a little bit better. So there is a difference. I can see it now. With the skin tone ones, which were, I think, $12 or 12 pencils for like $5 or $7, it only has, and it's metallic, so you can't really see it, but it only has the word. It doesn't have the two different languages. Also, the Mondo Llama looks different. For their regular 24 pencils for like $3 set, then the Mondo Llama is a little bit smaller, and they do have the two different translations of the word. So I really like the skin tone ones. Not so much with the other ones. They do feel like Crayolas to me. Oh, so that was Mondo Llamas. Mondo Llamas, and that's also a 2. That wouldn't be my go-to for in here. I think that probably is the biggest problem. The floor I can deal with, the table I can deal with, the wall I can deal with, but the transitioning down here from here is it just, that seems like a much more vibrant, much deeper pencil, and I didn't even take away all of the white space. This one I really had to burnish the pencil in just to get the color payoff, and still I didn't have the right colors because honestly I only had the 2 greens. But overall I think it still looks really good. All right, well now we have a panel. It's almost like we're playing bingo of some weird fashion, and then we're going to start moving that way. It probably will bite me in the butt that I'm leaving some of the most detailed things for last, but yeah, I mean, that's a problem for future Johanna. So guys, I'd love to know what you guys think so far. Have you ever used these Mondo Llama pencils? I'd love to know in the comments below. All right, well, that's it for me for now, and as always, aloha.